Face-off X will be a huge story in this one. Zach Hayashi is back for Navy after missing 7 games. He's excellent, but Will Coletti, one of the best in the country at the face-off circle. We are underway. Army-Navy, the 105th time in college lacrosse.
You're not going to get a much better look than that. You've got to at least get it on cage. Test Dan Daly. Make him make that save. Those are nerves right there, to your point earlier.
Evan Plunkett gets a step. Eicher, leading scorer, and the first clean save by Dan Daly.
Who's going to win the 50-50 ground ball over the course of 4 quarters is such a huge layer to this one.
Goers dishes. Point shot finds the back of the cage. Paul Garza, his 10th goal this season from way outside.
Rarity, you catch Army, I would say, napping a bit, not locked in off ball. Credit Garza, who steps in, a shot from range. And Burns almost surprised by it. Doesn't see it till it's behind him. Early offense for Navy.
A rivalry that always gives you drama.
We've talked a lot, for good reason, about Army's defense early in this game, but we should also credit Navy. The numbers maybe not as stellar as the Black Knights, but they will guard you similarly. Not want to slide a lot. They'll lean on Dan Daly to make saves like that, and they'll get out and run here. Brochard coming over from High Point, where he was part of orchestrating a highly efficient offense that can score in a lot of ways, Chris. And I think modern lacrosse now, it's more about motion, getting into certain areas of the field to attack in certain ways. A lot of on-ball picks, careless turnover there for Navy.
You brought it up with Navy in their free-flowing play. This is the open style for Army right on the doorstep. Gunnar Fellows evens this game up at 1.
Live ball turnovers will put you in a really challenging position against this Army offense. They love taking defense to O. Starts with the turnover on one end. Defensive midfielders often looking at that doorstep. And Fellows finding the back of the net early.
Army again at the face-off. Will Coletti. Oh boy, did Army miss him when he was out. Missed 4 games with an injury. Returned last time out, took 20. Possession game, also a big part of that strong defense. Hill Plunkett gave it a rip into the waiting stick of Daly. Again, that rotating defense for Army prevents any clean look. Shot clock late, under 15. Bonzio deflected before it got into the crease. And the keeper comes out, Sean Byrne. Byrne initiating the Army offense. Dangerous fling is intercepted. And oh boy, with Byrne out, how does Army respond here?
Goes wide.
Low shot is wide, just missed.
Did Pilot make that save? Unreal.
Tyler Clark's been used a little bit more here late in the season for Army. Working behind cage. Hill Plunkett.
Navy's decided to double pole the midfield, so they've got long poles on both Plunkett brothers and putting a short stick on Fountain.
An incredible angle. Jackson Eicher wheels around and deposits one through to give Army their first lead. Goal number 36 of the season for Eicher.
And right on cue, because they tried, or they did, successfully put 2 poles at the midfield, that means a short stick is guarding attackman. Ideally, Navy would like that short stick to be on 41 in black and Fountain.
It's one of the strategies that you have going in, especially with Army and the way that they can put it up is, again, how do you deploy your poles against a unit where Hill Plunkett, Evan Plunkett can initiate his midfielders, and then Eicher, Fountain, Fellows, all dangerous attackmen. First penalty marker in. High pass. Haley has to retreat. Start to see more of the movement with Coach Amplo's team. Forcing the slide, Haley goes low. That's the first goal on the man up with still 19 seconds left. Navy is tied it at 2.
Sloppy start to this man up, but they got their stuff together, and I love the patience here to not take the first shot, but look for the best shot. And Haley touched on him out of the gate. He's the most experienced member of this offense for Navy.
Mac Haley gets the goal to even this at 2, back to full strength. And Army can whittle this thing down. Low sidelining shot, Plunkett is saved, and you highlighted it. Dan Daly is in a groove to start this one for Navy.
He's been great. I also think this Army offense at times isn't testing him with the highest quality of shot, not changing levels, using the earth, if you will. Offsides. Another mental mistake for Navy.
With just 3 seconds, Eicher. And that does it for the first.
His numbers are down, 4 in black, Evan Plunkett, but he's got the hockey assist this year, meaning he's the pass before the pass, and that's often the most important one in the sport of lacrosse, where you start that rotation from a defense. They're forced to slide. You draw the eyes of the defense, and then somebody else benefits from it down the road, and that's been Eicher often this season.
Yeah, Eicher has the numbers that are just gaudy. Daly again makes a save, a difficult one. Army comes in tied for first. Technically conceding their second because of that loss. Haley trying to sneak it in. Tiptoed around the crease, backed up by Navy, just 9 to shoot. It did hit a keeper, so they will reset that. Difficult angle, and Byrne gets involved in the action.
A lot happening over there, and sometimes there's some confusion. It leads to too many men.
6-on-5 chance. Gregoric. This is Flaherty. Winds, bounces, and Byrne there. Outlets. Big ground ball, it's scooped up by Nixon. Army shorthanded. Now back to full strength. That one just sneaks wide. Earlier this year, they scored on a play that he said they stole from the Golden State Warriors basketball. So really creative with where they get their ideas. That was a game against Johns Hopkins. Just 4 to shoot. Distance, great, wow! With plenty of force behind it. That's how Navy takes the lead. A.J. Marsh.
Well, right on cue, Chris. This could be out of the brain of Brochard. I don't know if it's the Warriors or the Lakers or the Ravens, but look at that. See Marsh 11 in white. He's a close defenseman. They're able to make a sub or an exchange, if you will. So he comes from the midline. He catches this Army defense sleeping. 6 feet plus, and then a goalie often has no idea where that shot's going.
To have the control to be able to deliver that shot, of course, it's hard to read if you're in cage. Navy leads 3-2 and get a forced turnover. Line it up wide, and Ash, count it. With a penalty marker in late, Carter Ash, an unsettled play, and Navy has it rolling at home.
But this starts, and it's the story of the game. Navy's defense playing right there with Army all game, putting the ball on the carpet and getting it up and out quickly. Sean Gallagher with a ground ball that led to this goal.
Goal's good. Black 11. Unnecessary. 1 minute. We're facing off.
So that's Hill Plunkett for Army.
We call that an and one, Chris. So ball in the carpet. Gallagher picks it up, dangles it in front, finds Ash, and then takes that big hit.
D'Agostino. Trying to craft an angle and does to the upper left 90, and Army is back within one. Finn McCullough. Well-timed steps in traffic.
This is what I would describe as a determined dodge. McCullough just kept leaning into his defender until he got to the middle of the field, which improves his shooting angle, and then is able to shoot through a stick check. Honestly, I would take Iker the Dodger. He doesn't scare me in that area as much as he does when he's off ball.
So him more of a play finisher than a play creator.
Exactly.
7 seconds. Plunkett. Low pass. Angle shot. Cash. Wow. How did that find any space for the back of the cage? And that's how Army finishes off the half. The second goal from Finn McCullough.
Dan Daly has had as good a half as you could have as a goalie, and this is going to be hopefully not in his nightmares depending on this game ends, but that's one you want to have back. A low angle shot that just sneaks through somehow his midsection, kind of maybe skips off the turf. Tough to see from that angle.
Army is vaulted up to the number 5 team in college lacrosse. Looking to remain that way by beating their rival on the road.
Gotta move it.
Christian Fournier came around from the opposite side to cause that turnover. And then on the Fournier side of things, what makes him such a standout at the long stick midi?
Well, he's your quintessential, like, he's got a pull, but he can make plays off the ground and play offense, but he does all the things defensively, and that was just a well-timed slide. When you see the back of an offensive player, good time to go.
Well done, Aiden Eisenborn. Army scored right before halftime to tie it at 4, and they take the lead nearly 2 minutes into the third quarter.
Weisenborn, along with Plunkett, part of the 2 freshmen that joined Evan Plunkett on that first line for Army.
Daly with 8 saves. Full out sprint results in a goal. Braden Fountain, but wipe it off. He was inside the crease.
A 2-3 goal lead feels more like 4 and 6. So this is a critical moment where you have to stay within 1 and you have to do everything you can to get back into it by tying it.
Bellows finds it. Army doubles their lead. Gunnar Fellows, the junior from Highland Ranch, Colorado.
Timeouts are obviously a premium, but Joe Amplin might want to think about using one right now just to settle his guys down, because Army's playing at a different gear right now. So much more urgency offensively. You see how they're just catching a pole, napping in front of the goal. All Fellows does is sneak from behind, a poor angle defensively, and takes advantage.
22 on the season. Shadow wins versus Coletti on the big face-off. It's won by Army. The wing scoops and Fournier. Stumbles to the ground. The flag is out. Penalty coming up on Navy.
An odd man situation. Keep an eye on 3 in black, Iker. He's their best shooter. Plunkett can also let it rip.
Already 4 goals in a 7-minute stretch for Army. High and wide on the aggressive attack. from Jackson Eicher. Fellows. Ball right on the doorstep, but the goalie, Dan Daly, the Wayne, New Jersey product, gobbles it up.
He'll hit that 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, that's a lot of net there. Oh, full strength. The middle of the field. How about Fournier? Just always involved in the action for Army.
Yard sale here at Marine Corps Stadium.
Tracy. It's a great sale before the game, by the way, and a lot of lacrosse gear here for Navy.
Yeah.
I'm
a little poor. That's just a well-played poke check. Fournier. And another goal for Army.
Evan Plunkett. Top player on the team, first team All-American, rings the bell, and Army leads by 3.
Started with that turnover at one end, and it sounds like a broken record right now, but they need to start sliding to short stick matchups defensively for Navy. An important and a necessary timeout.
Shadowlands wins a big face-off to see if Navy can climb back in this one. A 3-goal deficit against Army is a huge hole.
No doubt. You think of the 4 goals for Navy, 2 of them came off of, I would call, sort of the unconventional.
Well, that's how you climb back in it. Jack Ponzio running across from right to left and finding the back of the cage.
We highlighted him in the open for a reason. They are really excited about what they have in Ponzio here in Annapolis. Just a freshman, 5'11", north of 200 pounds, and you can see how that explosion to the middle of the field we've talked about, and gets his hands free with his left, and he's known for his efficiency as a shooter, based off of not just kind of state of mind, but playing that math score game with the way Army plays defense. I mean, I think you got to be going into this fourth quarter at the most down 2.
What a swooping move! It results in a goal! Incredible work from Braden Felton.
The freshmen have settled into this game on both ends. Ponzio, the freshman for Navy, and now it's Braden Felton, somebody who had ties to this Navy program as a high school recruit, but is very comfortable playing up on the Hudson. But they got to know that. They need to know, all right, well, somebody else has to be our primary initiator, distributor. And Will Goers, we have not said his name much in this game.
Ground ball 1 for Army. Unsettled play. Long pole strike is wide as John Sullivan gave it a chance. Jack Nickturn. Mentioned his brother, Brandon, just one of the greats for the other team in Army. Tiptoeing towards the crease, going low, but Sean Byrne all over that one.
They see something in him, but he's got to put his stamp on this game because he's been held in check and really hasn't done much.
Ponzio, the freshman who had the goal earlier on in this quarter. Maddox Haley gets space, but is wide. That was the most amount of room that he's had all afternoon.
Well said, and that means you have to take advantage. Didn't even get it on cage, and you could sense the frustration.
Ponzio behind the back. Oh my! Freshman sensation, Jack Ponzio.
This kid's got game. This is slick right here. Often you'll think behind the back it's being fancy, but this was necessary. And his ability to catch this improves his angle with the BTB, sneaks it near side on Byrne. 2 for 2, that efficiency continues. And he's put his stamp on his first Army-Navy game. And they're right in that sweet spot of getting back in this game. Got to keep it within 2 heading into the fourth.
And they make it one, swarmed around. Garza lost it. Ground ball fights, whistle, Army possession.
Loose ball push on Navy.
get the stop. Now 6 seconds separating the two clocks. Off the screen, Evan Plunkett, spin, dodge, goes low, and how about Daly? And with 20 seconds, Navy has a chance to beat the buzzer.
You don't want to call timeout here. Save that for the fourth quarter. Just let it play.
Haley lost it. And that should do it for the third, fellows. And that's it. Meanwhile, if Army wins this, they will solely be in first place in the Patriot League with a couple of games left.
Plunkett's still getting his separation, Evan, that is, but his shot percentage just has been down this year. 17% coming into this one, and he's a guy who was a 40-point scorer a year ago, first-team All-American. And
by the way, the team that finishes in first hosts the Patriot League semis and championship game. Top 2 teams get a bye in the first round. Top 6 in the conference make it to the postseason. There's a Navy goal when they need it to pull within 1. On a full-out dash, Liam Hurley, the sophomore midfielder.
another great wrinkle from new offensive coordinator Ken Brochart, bringing a player out of the box so that Navy can ID defensively and get those short sticks to lock in and get into the gloves.
Shadow wins, Coletti. Coletti wins initially, now a ground ball fights. Still on the ground. Navy, possession, Gallagher. He tried to crank, but Coletti, of all players,
what did we tell you? This is the game that's basically personified by the sellout check.
Stunning when he does. Goers around the pick. Spin move. Collision on a check. Pilot came over. No flag on the ground, but it is Navy possession.
Pilot's stick gets caught up in that position. Almost looked like a push from behind with possession, which would have been a man advantage situation, but nonetheless, Navy gets the ball and a fresh 60.
Fournier screened off, and a bouncer goes through. Jack Flaherty ties this game at 8 with 12:06 to go.
The chess match is on right now, and Navy's gaining an advantage by bringing players out of the box, meaning the subbing box, so it makes it difficult to get matchups that you want set. Gives you an advantage at times. Also, a well-placed pick gives Flaherty that time and room to get a pretty bouncer past Byrne. We've already seen him get success on that in this game.
McCullough, 2 goals, both in the second quarter. DeAugustino winds. Daly there.
Best save of the game.
Offensive possession for the midshipmen. 30 seconds to shoot. Flaherty examines. Back to goal. Bounces wide to the left. 25 on the shot clock. Nick Turn. Draws the help. Leaves open. A midshipman and Haley. Finally, Navy leads.
Ball movement, ball movement, ball movement. That's what leads to this goal. You force a rotation from a defense that does not like to slide. And then Haley, credit the experienced attackman for taking that extra step, knowing he's going to either take a massive hit or at least get some contact to improve his angle. I always think of those stats when you think of like the makeup of a team. I mean, it does say that a Joe Amplo coach team at least has not done well when trailing in the fourth. Good slide.
And knocked away from Eicher. This
Look
has
at that
been
GB.
a different Navy team since late in the third. Transition element, goers, and burn all over it. Open style of play, 9 minutes to go.
Look out.
Collision in the middle of the field. Goers involved. Fellows wants it. Ground ball, who needs it? A huge fight in the fourth. Finally secured by Fellows for Army.
Failure to clear it in that time.
Navy down 3, now up 1.
No, there's 54.
Short stick defending Tracy. Tried a cross crease pass, deflected away.
That's a home run play that's does not have high odds against this defense.
Yeah, I know, because
Last year they were the national.
the NASA.
Yeah, they were the national.
Gunnar Fellows, junior from Colorado. Eicher gets space, cranks it in. You can't give him a sliver of room, and Eicher knots the game up at 9.
And credit Eicher, he moved off his favorite real estate on the field, felt the pressure of the defense, flip sides, and he had a tractor beam to this one. Defense a step slow, hands free, and an absolute howitzer. Avoid making the mental mistake late in this game, whether that be a penalty, a careless turnover, a live ball turnover. It's not going to be perfect by any means, but I think kind of having composure down the stretch is often the difference maker in this one.
Space and a goal. Navy back up by 1. Henry Tolker, 11th of the season. The Vets with his 4th career goal against the Black Knights.
And once again, from my vantage point, this is Army getting caught in a bit of confusion out of the subbing situation out of the box and early offense. So the ball comes out of the box, and then 2 men attempt to slide for no reason, and then Tolker just rolls off.
But it's Navy that's been efficient here in the 4th. Jack Flaherty gets space, bounces it wide to the left. This is the matchup for first place in the Patriot League. Army would have sole possession of first with the BU loss earlier on today. If they win this, they'll go to 5-1. Navy wins this, they go to 4-2 and have wins over BU and Army. And if they can keep that up with Flaherty, they're on their way. He hit the ground. It didn't matter. And Navy has a 2-goal lead.
Great example here, Chris. We've talked about it all game long, about the effort plays in this game. There's a ball on the ground right now. Haley, ball's taken away by Pilot. But who's on top of that ground ball first? Navy is. And that's what leads to this goal from Flaherty. It's a ground ball off a turnover in a lot of ways, even though they didn't necessarily bring it to the offensive zone. Another quality look for Plunkett that he just can't even get on cage right now. That's a big part missing for this offense for Army.
Hill Plunkett finds the pipe. It goes ricocheting to the far sideline. That resets the shot clock.
I know, he looks so good. I've seen him multiple times. I've walked past him before and it's like walked to him.
Tough pass in traffic, looking for Evan Plunkett. Hill Plunkett there to scoop it up. Younger brother rockets it high, a turnover. A huge one with 2:46 left.
Now's when you start changing things and you see it. Army's going to a 10-man ride, meaning they've bumped a player up. Byrne is out of the cage, so the net is open. This gives them one extra defender that can try and force a turnover.
I don't
Long pass out of the reach of the target. Darrow throws it away.
This is that decision making, Chris.
How do these teams handle the emotions of a close game in America's rivalry? Another turnover.
Start gripping that stick pretty tight. That's a bad pass, but one Pilot would usually be able to make. He's out of bounds.
All over Haley, flings to the middle of the field. It's Army, Fournier with the ground ball. Plunkett steps inside, the attacking third. Gets that separation, unleashes, it finds the cage. Snuck just over the goal line. And Army within one.
Great players step up in big moments. And that's what Evan Plunkett is. It's been a tough day shooting, but he was determined to get to his right, get his hands free. Love how he uses the turf, skips this off the turf here at Navy Marine Corps Stadium. Daly has a beat on it, but because of that action off the ground, he can't corral it. So you only call the timeout if you're in trouble, you find yourself getting doubled, still have the ball, because they've talked about what they want to run here out of that last timeout.
So Plunkett's the All-American, wears the number 4 for the Black Knights. And then the play finisher is Eicher, who wears the number 3. What an opening for Evan Plunkett. He deposits it high into the upper right 90, and Army has tied it up at 11. How did he get space?
The player of the year has entered the chat. And Chris, he got space because this is a nightmare for any defenseman. Your foot gets caught in the net. He's doing what he should do, Sean Gallagher. Take advantage of your ability to run through the crease when the offensive player cannot. But he catches a cleat on that net.
Haley defended by Pilots. Clock whittling down to just 13. Goers has to create. Shimmy shake. Goers draws the slide. Loses the ball. Tracy there to scoop. 5 seconds left. Unsettled for Army. Tracy feeds. Mazur dishes. The shot is late. And we're going to overtime. Fountain found the back of the cage, but it's wiped off clearly. The horn sounded before the shot off from Fountain.
I can't believe just sort of out of sorts Army was here. They've lived in transition. Tracy seemed kind of confused about what he should do. He dumps it off to a fellow short stick defensive midfielder in Mazur. I mean, he had a lane to the cage. You can see he's got his hands on his head like, oh man, I misplayed that.
Let's see what'll make the difference here in Annapolis.
What a gift here. And that initial face-off, always so important. Both teams have a timeout if they want to use it.
And the clock is a factor here. Again, if you run out of time in the overtime, you go to the next one, and that starts with a face-off as well. So even though it's sudden victory, the clock is a factor. With space, Plunkett is saved! Wow! Daly, big time when his team needed it. Navy transition. A whistle and a timeout from the sideline from Coach Joe Amplo. Wow! Haley behind cage, and he's seen A.J. Pilot all game long. Two-time Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year, defending the top attackman on the side of the mids. Haley gets rid of it. Shot clock at 3. There's the attempt. Wasn't close, and Army wins the loose ball.
That was one of Army's best defensive possessions. They got numbers if they want them right now.
Mazur bounces. Fellows there. He's closest. So Army with 1:52. Gets it back at X. Plunkett, GLE near side. Pounded with the switching defense. Stumbles, recovers. Stuck in a stick under 30 to shoot. Next goal wins this one here in overtime. Eicher cranks, bounces, and wins it. In overtime, it's Army, the winner of America's rivalry in 2025.